Hi, this is Suzi, Dafnis and Matson coming to you from the exhibition hall at South by Southwest 2014. The end of the day.
The end of the day and the end of another festival. Oh my goodness.
It's been incredible for me.
Absolutely, yeah.
What we wanted to do is give you a quick wrap-up of some of the themes. I found every year there's some overriding theme, whether it's intentional or not. And so we've picked 5 that we thought we wanted to recap for you. The first being creativity and science.
Yeah, for me this was brought home by the notion that creativity and science aren't opposites. They're actually extraordinarily closely related. And the more we bring both and synthesize both, then the more we're going to be able to not only solve the world's problems, but also be able to do better stuff, whether it's in tech, whether it's in health, whether it's in politics, whether it's in developing nations, whether it's just for our own personal satisfaction. They're not opposites. Creativity and science actually come together.
Great, I totally agree. I just want to add to that creativity is not just for the genius, it's for all of us. And so there's lots of resources for that. And again, I'll put a couple in the notes with this video of some of the people we saw. The next one that I wanted you to quickly touch on was the area of democratisation of everything.
Yeah, one of the things that technology has done has brought us all closer and has given everyone a voice. And so that has led to this notion of the democratisation of everything. We heard this theme come up when it came to politics, when it came to data, when it came to creativity, when it came to producing content, whether it's a TV show or a movie, whether it's even lobbying and influencing things like natural disasters that had previously been the domain of governments and charity organisations. This notion that everything is democratised, and I guess for me, I actually took home out of that I actually do have a voice, and if I just get creative about how to use it, you don't have to sit back and go, oh, this is all awful, I can do something different. So
today we heard Chelsea Clinton say, what are you going to do with the power and the tools that you have at your disposal? And unlike ever before, each of us can play a very vital role in changing whatever we want to see changed.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I love that phrase, democratisation, because even though we live in a democracy, I think sometimes we forget that we actually really do have also power with that democracy.
I could go on about that and how really we were conditioned to think that the power was in other people's hands, but it's in our hands.
It is.
I want to talk about privacy. That was, again, an overarching theme, and not from the privacy Big Brother is watching. Well, a little bit of that.
A little bit of that, yeah. I mean, we had people like Julian Assange and Ed Snowden, but also people like technologists talking about, well, what are we doing with the data that gets collected in, terabytes on an hourly basis, not on a daily basis. I don't know that there were any conclusions drawn other than be aware. You don't necessarily need to be scared, but you do need to be asking yourself who's got the data, who potentially can impinge on my privacy.
But also when we think of things like advertising, what we can know about our customers, how we segment our data, that is all part of, well, I don't want to say infringement because infringement has such terrible connotations, but there's so much data and the ability to mine it for a good purpose is available to us, again, more than ever before.
I think my key takeaway out of that one as a consumer was I'm really quite happy to give my information to companies because the worst that they're going to do is sell advertising to me or advertise to me. I'm not so necessarily open to giving my data away to the government because they can do all sorts of things with it that I don't necessarily have any control over.
Content was not unexpectedly a big theme for this year's conference. The creation of it. What do we create? For whom? How do we create it? What platforms? What's your takeaway on content?
Again, the democratisation of content. Also, interesting changes, I suspect, over probably the next couple of years around copyright law, IP law, who owns what. The guy at Upworthy yesterday was talking very informatively from the point of they don't actually create content, they repurpose content that other people have created, but out of that, those artists or those producers who would otherwise have not seen the light of day get paid for their content. So, again, inconclusive, but I think some really interesting changes when it comes to content, and it's vital. We're all in the content marketing business now.
The one area that's moved ahead since last time we were here is the area of personalisation. So whether that's my Fitbit on my hand, feeding back data to my daily activities, my exercise, my consumption of whatever, the ability to personalise not only the user experience, but the data that I'm providing other people.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, from a business perspective, again, what that drove home was you can't now be a mass marketer. And if, we all joke about the ridiculous ads that we get in our Facebook newsfeed because Facebook has determined we're a certain gender and a certain age. It doesn't work anymore. You need to be targeted, you need to be personalised, and that doesn't mean, hi, Suzi, in your emails. You need to be personalised in your marketing to give people content that they're interested in, as distinct to advertising messages that just kind of fly past.
So they're just some of the highlights of this year's conference. If you can be here next year, look up the dates. It's SxSW.com. We'd love to have you here. Not that we're hosting, but it's always good to see a bunch of Aussies across here.
Well, and one of the things that I always try to explain to people back home is we do not have the capacity to have the conversations at home that we do here. It's a scale, it's an intellect, it's an intelligence, it's a technological, it's a marketing, it's a policy, it's an everything. And we just do not have these conversations at home. So even if you just come along to South by and experience it, and then you'll get it.
Thanks so much for joining us here at South by Southwest Interactive. For more information on where you can find out what Kat and I are up to and the Social Media for Small Business podcast, check out the Australian Business Women's Network website, which is www.abn.org.au. Thanks for joining us.